Okay, so it's 6:30. I'm cooking dog food. So they, especially Stella, she wanted to eat. She was getting very upset. And so anyways, I had to cook it. So now hopefully by the time I'm done with this, then her food will be ready. Because normally she'll sleep through this, but we'll see if she starts getting mad because she didn't get to eat yet. Um, let's see, there was a few things I want to talk about. One thing is my table out there that I did, this is a mosaic. I had never done a mosaic. And so it was just like learning as I went. And a lot of things always to me, like it seems like, oh, that can't be that hard. I'll jump right in. And it's like, oh, it's harder than I thought. And like I want to learn how to do pottery. I want to learn how to do stained glass. Like there's like not enough time to learn all the things you want to learn. And I would do another mosaic, especially because now, like, I totally see all the things that I have done wrong that I could have done better. And so now it's like, oh, I can totally see how when you do something the first time, don't get disappointed in yourself. Like, oh my God, I'm not good at this or whatever. Take it as your learning tool. How much you learn from the first one you do, so the next one you do is so much better, and the one after that is so much better, and you just keep improving. And one thing too with this one is don't look at it like it's a fail or anything. Like, put it into perspective. And so to me, I wish it was like more like I wish I could fix the things that I wish I could fix in it, but I can't. And I've also got the epoxy's messy as a motherfucker. Look at my nails. This is stain and epoxy. Like it's just gonna have to wear out. Like you can't. Oh, and I was wearing this dress that I love, and I got fucking epoxy on it. I'm so pissed. I don't even. Sometimes I just do stuff that is so. I question my own self. I was like, why didn't I just grab an apron? Why didn't I change clothes? It's like, sometimes lessons are so sucky. But, and I've been trying to get this off the dress, and it's like, I don't know. It seems to just eat through the fabric. So I don't know what's going on. Now I'm gonna go in and try and find a dress that is similar because I love it. Oh my God. It was so comfortable. I had pockets. It was like this perfect cotton dress, like for especially when it's so hot out. It's like, God dang it. And I have lots of stuff, but I don't buy like. Well, I do have a couple of dresses that I have, two of them, but most of them in different fabrics. But most of them, are all different from each other. I just like dresses. But, okay, let me think. So, on my table, I had done this mosaic thing, and then I tried to put, and I didn't even know what epoxy was, so I put polyurethane on it at first. And I thought it was just supposed to be to seal it. I didn't realize, like, no, you change the whole level, and all that. And then with the mosaic, especially because I did big pieces and little pieces, and it was really kind of I think my first time even working with anything with mortar. That's messy as shit. I've done things with concrete and stuff, and that's what I was like, this is the same as concrete. And so you're trying to put this stuff in, and you have all these different sizes. It's hard. But that doesn't mean don't try it, don't do it, and don't have ones where you didn't do perfect, because you learn as you go. And so don't hold yourself back by being like, well, I wouldn't be able to do it. Well, I won't do good enough. Like, I just jump in all the time. Like, I didn't start out with a little thing. I didn't start out with a little, like, you could start out with something small. Like, you could go up to a garage sale or a thrift store or something and get a table. And then you could mosaic the top of the table. You know what? Well, you'd have to do some different kinds of work on it probably to get it to be okay, because it's got to have some sides that go up. It's got to have a bottom, so you may have to do something. But anyways, there's things that you could go do to kind of practice on. You'd have to just go look and see. It definitely needs sides and see. And I didn't even know, like when I had started this, I was doing it to the depth of the table with the other stuff. I didn't, I thought I was having to rise all of my mosaic thing up. So I had that up where if I would have understood more about it, and I don't think every mosaic is done the same. Like I don't think every single one has epoxy over it. But if I would have known of that, I would have made it lower, which would have made my things more equal. And then I would have had space to pour the epoxy in because my epoxy went all over. I've got a mess to clean up on the wood. I went out. Luckily, I've got some replacement pieces. So I'll just take out pieces and replace them. And my whole floor is kind of sunk from all the water anyways. There's so much damage on stuff like that. Like, I'm sure the house foundation too, it probably is, because the ground's just too fucking wet in the deep part, you know. They'll still, with this sun thing being so hot for the last few days, they'll still start a forest fire somewhere. They'll dry shit out on the top, but in the bottom, and then it must be they start it, I don't know. I think that they put accelerants on it, like the when they go in, you know, I think that their stuff, and then they also use those little flying airplane things to go around, and I think they can do it. Some I think are flamethrowers, but I think also that it can be done with like lasers and stuff. You gotta think this is all the sci-fi shit that they do. So you can, I'm telling. So anyways, they're probably just getting it all set up out here for fire. But what was I talking about? How to go from the table to the weather? I don't even know. But anyways, I still had something I wanted to say about the table. So anyways, if I would have known to do the epoxy, then I could have put that over. But so anyways, I was trying to build up on the table, and there was like a little bit of space, but then there was like other problems around the edges, and I tried to put in glue stuff. Then I ended up caulking it. So I would have done that first. But see, you learn as you go. You do things, and it's like, oh, that didn't work. So you try something else. And that's on everything, not just these big projects. Because, yeah, I jumped in and got this whole giant table, and I'm like, oh, I can do it. No problem. And then you get in, and it's like, dang. The things that I had realized once I had jumped in was like, it takes a lot of little tiles. I can't believe how much money I had to spend on those. They're expensive. And you think, oh, this would be a bunch. You'll get it. Like I would do orders, and I would get like 3 or 4 of these bags, and I think, oh, that'd be a bunch. It didn't go hardly at all. It's like, oh my God. So I had to keep ordering tiles and tiles. And then I had some plates and stuff, and I broke because there was a bunch of broken, so I used tiles and big tiles, little tiles, broken dishes, all sorts of stuff. And so then I made this, I don't know, it's kind of this design. It was like movement, and it kind of, I don't know how I see things, like this infinity of movement and all these different colors and stuff. And so but it's all black and white. And so so anyways, it goes up there. And then, but if I would have done it the other way, and I would have had the epoxy, it would have been more flat and leveled and stuff. But I had other things that I was trying to mask then of the things that I had done wrong, so then I did more things wrong. So I decided to order this glitter and put the glitter in, because that would cover up any of the polyurethane that was left on it, any of like the dirt, the exposed stuff, or because you could clean it, but some stuff, it was just, I mean, it's concrete and stuff and tiles. And so I got this glitter, and I was like, oh, I'll put that on first. When I got the polyurethane at first, I ordered a couple of them. That didn't even barely cover one table. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to order way more. And so I kept ordering more, ordering more, ordering more. Even yesterday, I think I should have ordered a fourth one because I put 3 on at one time. And then I ordered these different glitters, and so I poured a bunch of glitter in, and the glitter went way further than I thought. So it's heavy on the glitter. So that's another thing. I would have used less glitter. I would have, and all of the little things that I had put down, they were glued. I don't know how the epoxy found little ways to get out, so it made another mess. The first one, it had gone down through all the crevices that I thought I had closed off with the glue, and the glue didn't close anything off. Yeah, they were way bigger and deeper, I guess, because how they had made it before, it wasn't exactly perfect for what I did. But see, that's another thing. I would have, well, I don't even know how I would have done that. But that's why you're always learning as you go. And always too, I always have these beings or myself or other aspects of myself or something. Somebody's always communicating to me. That's all I know. Like, that's all I can tell you. I get told things that I don't know. They just come out of the blue. So, I mean, somebody have to explain it to me if they're going to tell me that there's not somebody talking to me. And it's been happening since I was so little that it's been my whole life. So I've lived my whole life with them talking to me and talking me through things. And so, I don't know, nobody can convince me different from the things I believe. And, and I don't even care if somebody thinks like I'm mental. It's like, I think it's mental that you're so cut off from what's really out there. That's creepy. That creeps me out. So it's as strange as you find me, I find you. So but anyway, so don't get put off when you're trying things. I mean, you jump in big, jump in small, whatever you're gonna do, just jump in and do something. And then hold on to it. I've got drawings from when I was a kid. I'm really sad too over this one, because in 6th grade, I won my first art contest. It was my only, but I won an art contest. And they had, it's so funny too. It was like 6th grade, I think. And we were supposed to draw a picture of what this certain song meant to us. And I can't remember what it was, like Rock of Gibraltar. I don't remember what this song was. But to me, I saw Allie with stuff and these black guys. So that's what I drew this picture of and colored it in and stuff. And I don't know where that picture is. That crosses my mind a lot. But all my other art stuff, I've always tried to keep it all. But that is another thing that just eats at me, is my fucking lawyer. Like, and I question why would this be a part of what I had to experience? Like, that's the thing that you gotta get used to asking a lot, I think, if you want to understand what you're doing. But I was like, why do I have to go through that? It's like, and so many things that we go through is about learning how to let go. But because think about, why are you holding on, and why are you holding on so tight? What am I holding on to? But I hold on to things. Like, I've still got my first doll, so I hold on to things. I always have. And this, and I have my art and stuff. And this, when she came, because she came over to my house one of the times, and she was looking through my art and stuff, and then she wanted to take these drawing books that I had, and they were big ones. They were from an art class of, I think it was live drawing. Yeah, I think it was, where the model comes in and you draw, but that's not all the whole class. So it's like Sometimes you have to draw yourself. You have to do self-portraits, and you have to draw your own hands. You have to draw a lot of hands. You have to draw feet. You have to draw this stuff. So it's kind of like, so you're supposed to, in order to do like life drawing, is that you're supposed to be very familiar with the anatomy. And so we would do a lot of that, because in life drawing, you're just like, you're picking up these shapes and stuff. You're not supposed to be very, you're supposed to be a lot more free-flowing. So you got to know, like, it's in your head, like what a foot does, what a hand does. You don't have to sit there, it's not supposed to be as tight. It's supposed to be a lot more loose. And that can be hard to learn, to loosen up with your art, that's for sure. I'm sitting here painting this chair. It's so freaking cute. But there's definitely parts where I'm down there like, ooh, like, it's like, God, Kelly, you are tight. So but don't just put yourself off and get overwhelmed. Like, oh, I could never do that. I can't figure that out. That'll be too hard. Have fun in life. Have fun trying new things, and have fun failing sometimes, because you learn. Don't get all caught up and whine and cry. One thing that I have seen so much at thrift stores is there's so many paintings that people do, and then they just give them away. And I'll look at them and I'll be like, man, they didn't even finish. They got to a part where they got overwhelmed and they just stopped. And there's so sometimes it will look more, I don't know, childlike, but you just got to keep going. Just keep going, putting more color and more, and it's important. Like if you're doing a horse, understand how a horse's body is, so you know where to shade, where to put the dark colors and where to put the light colors, and just keep adding color and definition and more details, and you'll see it will turn into a grown-up painting instead of a childlike painting. But so many people, and I think so many people they do those and then they feel like, oh, I'm not good at art, I'm not good at that, but they give up on themselves too quick. So just keep trying, and even if you do your first painting and you think it's childish looking, keep it. Because then after you've been doing for over a few months or a year, and you keep doing it, and then you go back and compare, you're going to be so proud of yourself for how far you've come. So don't get, mad at yourself or whatever for any of the things that you see of, like, you could have done so much better if you just would have known. You should have waited. You can do the woulda, shoulda, coulda over and over to yourself. You can beat yourself down nonstop, because you're always going to learn from what you do. So you're always going to be able to look back and think like, well, if I only would have known. It's like, yeah, but this is where you're learning it. I can't believe how much I've said this before in my life. I just heard myself. It was like a bell ringing of saying that to, I don't know, to different people or something, of like, but this is when you're learning it. Don't be hard on yourself because you didn't know it before you knew it. You got to be easy on yourself and understand that that's what you're here doing, is learning. So yeah, this is a hands-on learning technique for souls. So, you're going to have things that you're going to look at like, oh, I failed, I'm not good enough. And especially when it comes to creativity. And those are like things you got to break through your programming. You got to push yourself into like creative mode, into trusting yourself, and into allowing yourself to fail. You don't have to be the perfect artist to enjoy art. And you don't have to have everybody else like your art to enjoy art. It doesn't really matter. If you stick to something long enough, though, you will eventually have it where people will appreciate your art, your abilities and stuff, because you'll get better and better and better and better. But it doesn't matter. Like, I've painted so many different things over time. I've done murals. I've done all sorts of stuff. You just, in anything you do, anything, like any of the stuff I look back on, and then if you were to do it again, you could always do it better. It's funny because I was just thinking about like this painting right here. I did this painting, well, a duplicate of this. So I did this painting, I don't know, it was before, because it was before my brain injury. That's those drawings that she took of me, my self-portraits and shit, before my brain injury. Now I don't draw or paint the same as I used to. But anyways, I did this because I used to do oils too. And this was a Picasso that I copied. It's not exact duplicate or anything, but I just loved it. And so I did this whole painting, and then my sister loved it. And she was getting married, and so she loved it so much, I gave it to her for a wedding present. And so then I had to repaint another one for me. And that is one of those cases where it's always like, oh, I like the original better. but that's the thing too, because that also happened when my dad died. When my dad died, it was very, what is that called? Like soothing. I painted him. And I don't know, it was healing to me. So I painted a portrait of him. And that was the same thing. My sister saw it, and she's just like so in love with it. So she was like, please, please. And so I gave it to her, and I painted another one. And that was another one of those like, oh, I really like the original. But anyways, but that doesn't mean, because now I've had this one so long, I don't remember what the original looks like. So I love this one, and I've had it for a long, long time. I don't remember when I painted it. It was a long time ago, because she's been married, divorced, her kids are now, it had to be like 20 years ago. Maybe even 25 years ago. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But anyways, but just try different things. Pursue the things that you're interested in. Like if you, it's kind of weird too, because like if you, okay, so like if you get these images in your head, like of you standing on the sidewalk in France with your beret on and painting and people gathered around you and stuff, and you think, God, I'm so weird, because you get these weird images in your head and you're just like, I'm so weird. And then in this life, you come into this life and you go to school and you start trying to draw, and you start comparing yourself because someone's making fun of you. And then you start trying to do things to please other people. You get lost in yourself. And then sometimes there's a lot of people who think that they don't know how to draw. And drawing is a technique, it's a development, just like how we had to learn how to write. It's the same thing. You just keep doing it, and all of a sudden you can do it. And one, like a study that they would do, like in drawing classes and stuff, just find something in a room and draw it while you're sitting there. Just start getting in the habit of drawing things, and you'll see, like, everybody can draw. Everybody can draw, everybody can write. Well, if you got hands and patience. So, but it's something you can develop. But it's also something that people were beat down in school over. Like, oh, you're not good. You can't do that. Mom, you're not good at that. So just forget about it. And so then people do. I've talked to so many people. I can't draw. And my kids, even one of my daughters, it's like, yes, you can. You just got to keep doing it and doing it. You can do any of this stuff. So don't get caught up in like, well, I can't do that. And then don't get caught up if like you go and you get, like, you're like, oh, I've always wanted to paint. If you're really intimidated at first, get some, they've got some fucking cool ass elaborate paint by numbers now. And start out with something like that, so it gives you an idea of like how to do it and stuff. And just start out however, walk yourself through it. You could watch videos, but just don't hold yourself back. This is the time to find yourself and figure out what it is you enjoy doing and what it is that you're good at. And like I had been saying for a couple of years, there's a whole bunch of people who I had said, people who have been building up their skills and working on things and developing themselves, that they're gonna go into a big, I see all these people selling all sorts of shit, like the crocheting. man, it's so weird because I had started crocheting and I was talked about that so much. Now there's all these people doing these fucking cool ass fucking crocheting things and selling. I said people were gonna really go in these certain directions, and so I'm gonna keep pushing and keep saying that's where you got to go in and find this creative side of yourself, because that is the sides of ourselves that's moving forward. This shady side of ourselves that was comfortable in the dark and doing naughty things when our parents were gone down in the basement, that side of us is that side is the part we have to let go of. That's the side of us that we have to heal. That's the side we have to say goodbye to with this dark world, because that's the side of ourselves that's we are releasing. We have to do it ourselves. That's the thing. And when I had said about the Patriots, what have I been saying? So I could just see this coming. And that's why I kept all of a sudden shifting them in the third group, because I used to think that they were in the second group because they were a little bit more open, but they've really shown that they're really closed. They're very closed. She's on the move. How far are we in? I probably won't even make an hour. I don't know. We'll see. But so the people who are, so the people who, to me, that they refer to themselves as the Patriots. Okay, so this whole situation that happened, whatever, a week and a half ago or something with that Tamaji or whatever, Tamanji or something. What, you know who I mean, with the BT awards and her talking about the agenda that ends with the 25, and then so she brought this thing up. So for all of us people who have been following along with this, well, this is what's getting me. This is what's getting me. Okay, because so for some of us that we had heard about the one that ends with a 30, these ones that started with a 20. So these plans that they had, because they had a plan to have us all in those little cities that are intelligent by 30. So they had, shut the door away. So they had a plan for us, and they're actively going towards that plan. And that is what I thought had so many people freaking out, was because they wanted people to wake up, because they thought that could stop it. And so they were all upset because they were so stupid. We're all going to end up in these cities and stuff. And the whole time I'm like, well, I'm not going to end up there. Like, how are you going to end up there? Like, I'm going the other direction. Even if, I've said all along too, if they do a disaster, don't go to their fucking camp. Don't go to their places. Don't go to their resource centers. That's your exit queue. That's your stage left. Get the fuck out. So don't wait around for what they've got planned. That's a part of the plan. And so and I thought the people got that, but then it was like confusing to me where they would say, we're all gonna be stoked, we're all gonna be doing this. It's like, well, I'm not. It's like I fucking live simple. Like, I don't need all this bullshit. You want to play their games, and they're gonna so you can have their bullshit. So you can have their bullshit. Then that's what you're here to learn. But yeah, I already learned. I don't need their bullshit. And I don't need to live this way that they try and dangle in front of us. That was their lure. They lured them out into the cities with the lights and the music and all that stuff. They lured them out of the hills with education, and we'll make you better, we'll make you into a man, a gentleman, and you'll have a good job and money and stuff. It was all a lure of a division, like, even when it began, and it still happens, and people move up and out, and then they look down on who is behind. So it's all this created. It's just more hierarchy, division, and bullshit that they create. But so but they have their plan that they have been actively going towards. But see, that is what the disruptor, the DJT, he came in as the disruptor, but they had to show us. So all that stuff was leaked out a while ago, and it's on repeat. Like, I still hear this shit, but it hasn't covered all the bases to everybody, you know, so everybody's got their time to learn this stuff. But anyways, that was the highlight of that. So I would assume, because we were all so focused on that or something, this heritage thing. So this other one is developed by this heritage thing, and it's a well, we could do this kind of thing or something. What I heard somebody explaining about it, it's a new thing. Is it like the other one, the one with 3 and 0? That is way back. This has been going on like fucking from the 40s. So that one was a long time ago. This one with this Tamanji, whatever the fuck she brought up, like, chick, you are fucking, either you have got your family or kidnapped and held at a point, or you are in so deep, or what the fuck. I don't understand some of these sellouts. It's like, come on. But they're in their own experience, they're in their own ride. It's out of my control. But so she goes in and says that maybe she just thinks it's real. Like, fuck, who knows? Some of the people are brainwashed too, so you can't get all emotionally just freaked out about it and pissed off. You know, you sure can't get to the point of some of these people who want to go, you know, well, I'm gonna get them all. So anyway, it's just stuff that's like, oh my god, it's so fucking. But this is how it had to play out, because this is so interesting what is happening. And I was like, oh my god, this will, to me, because I didn't know anything was going on about it except for this morning. I just saw videos. I think I've only seen like one, or I've only seen a couple videos. Maybe this was the only one. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god. So I just can't even get over it. Like, to me, it is so ludicrous. I just can't even get over it. So this lady is saying she's a patriot. So she's on all their forums and bullshit where they go to converse, because they're a group of people who have isolated into their own group, that they want us to join their group, join our group, our rules. You know, that's how this moves forward for them. And how it really moves forward for the universe is, we all stop seeing ourselves in groups, because that's a protection that's not real. And each of us stands, you know, like a forest, like a tree in a forest, you know, not a sapling off of another tree, not rooted into another, but rooted into ourselves. And so we all stand as individuals as this transition occurs. And we, because for so many reasons, because then we're open on all sides. We're open for love. We aren't restricted. We aren't protecting ourselves and stuff. Like, there's so many things. That's why it all has to do with healing and stuff. Because think about the things you're doing, protecting yourself. You're scared someone's going to hurt you again, and all that kind of stuff. So, so she's saying that all these people, all these motherfuckers who are in that group are excited about this one, the one with the 2 and the 5, that they're all like amped up on it. And this is the ludicrous thing as well, is, like I said, is that it's supposedly written by this heritage group that is like those people. And it was written as a proposed, like, oh, this is what DJT wants to do. This is what he wants to do to us. Well, we're going to write that out. And so they wrote it out. So it's not really Dom's thing. He didn't write this thing out. And they wrote it out as well, this is what he wants to do. So this is his tyranny. This is his takeover. This is what, and these motherfuckers, these people are all excited. They love it. This woman was saying they're all excited. They love it. And she's really weirded out. And I just had another video pop into my head of another person doing one who was in a group, and then how they started seeing like weirded out by people, how people were saying. So see, that's a part of what happens why you leave groups, because there starts being people saying things that are just like, what? And so she's saying that they're all excited about it and that they all want it. They want this. They want us all to live under somebody's thumb. See, that is what I'm talking about. They're waiting for a savior. They're waiting for Jesus. They'll live under that thumb. For God's sake, you dumbasses, go to hell then, because I'm living under Jesus' thumb. And then the DJT, they're just like, that is what has to break down, because they're so much into this savior, this somebody else has got all the answers. It's not independence. And it's so crazy is that we're fighting for independence, but it's like we want to be dependent but free. But independence goes with freedom. Freedom is not having to deal with anybody or anything else on something. That gives you independence. Just like what I was talking about with the car insurance, which got cheaper. Is now it's just $150 a month, so that's good. And but it's all still so absurd until until the banks totally crash. And then there's other ones, I guess, that are crashing in China. So if it's just playing out there, because I think they've already signed on to the gold thing. I think I'm pretty sure Donald already signed us on. I'm pretty sure that there was a thing that I had seen about he went and signed on to the BRICK or BRICS. I think it's BR, maybe it has a K, but into the gold group. And he already went and signed us up. And but now, I mean, if they're just having banks go down in China, it's like, fuck, man, we got some long ways to go. Jeez. But so we have to, I mean, you have to make what payments you feel like you have to make, and in order to stay going, you got to do what's right for you. Because to me, I mean, with the car thing, it's a lot, because cars are getting taken. My daughter's got taken. Like, people's cars are getting repoed, and hers was not, because like she's not doing shit like the same way I am. They're really struggling. That's why I'm doing stuff. Is because they've created so much struggle. It's just like I'm fighting back with, you want to crash all these people, then crash us all, motherfuckers. See where you get then, bitches. Because I don't need this shit. Like, fuck you. And I'll take my dresses and go. No, I'm sure this is my place. Say that, and then I'm always like, I can pull up, pull up my escort, pull up. You're out of here, girl. And get your shit and go. I've got some dresses. So I gotta pack up. So, anyways, but shows this lady is saying that they're all excited about the religious thing. So in this 2.5, they've got where we all have to be under this one religion. We all have to be under Jesus' thumb. We're all going to be under the same church. We've all got to be under this. The Vatican's got control, and and that scares people. But it's like, it's so wacky. God, it's so wacky how the things that people fear, it's like it's happening. It's already happening. And but you're so scared. You think you're going to make sure it doesn't happen, but it's already happening. It's been happening the whole fucking time. And so anyways, so all these people are all jacked up on, like, they, of course, what did I say? It's all this ego, all this arrogance. They're on the right side. We're all on the wrong side. It's like, you guys are all on the sleeping side. Like, you haven't seen the spiritual side. You don't know what's going on in the spiritual world. You don't know what this is all happening for. This is happening for a reason. This isn't, like, you're so much a part of the game. See, that is what I'm saying, is this third group. It's like, they're in deep. They're in deep in this game. But this is the part where I was saying, the humiliation part. Because it's like they all want us to join into their cult or something. Like, that makes them all happy. Like, no individuality and stuff. And that's what this lady was saying. It's like, You know, I mean, we can only go so far. I don't feel like I need everybody to be the same religion as me. Like, that bothers me. I think that we all need to be open and let everybody do their own thing. Like, but apparently on these talks and stuff where people have all jumped on board, like, just attach the initials to the 25. We got the DJ T25, and these people like, oh, this is the best thing that ever happened in the world. Well, this is it. It's like, weren't you guys just all freaking about the 2030? Where you got another group over there that thinks like, well, that's the best thing for the planet. We all go green. We don't need to go out all over. We just need to love our space, you know, all that stuff. It's like, that's why this group, see, their heads in the right direction. This other one, they're like, whose else thumb can I be under? Like, you know, and that's what's created so much shame, so much. I just keep seeing all these really bad things with these preachers. Like, there's another one that just happened. He's arrested. Oh yeah, his was somebody got on his computer or something, and it's all he's like a youth minister or something, the pastor of the church. There's some whole thing, and he's got videos. One of them, a 2-year-old being, yeah, it's on his computer. So yeah, he's busted. So, and I think he has to do with, I think that was, he had something to do with like runaway kids or something. Of course, because that's what they fucking do. I always said, they want to fucking beat kids down in school. Get them on the needle, the pole, the pot, whatever. Get them on some kind of debilitating thing, make them feel bad about themselves, and not deal with any of their issues or trauma as they're young, and then put them out in a world that is moving too fast and too expensive and too overwhelming. You get them to not even, like, I've got a whole generation that can't handle anxiety at all. And so, you know, the creating of the deliberate creating of the, you know, a whole bunch of words in my mind. Some of them are dark. The creating of, it's like the model of, it's fragile. This fragile model of human that they created. But they want that. That's the direction they want to go. And so they look at it as a success, but we have to look at it as, you know, we're the monkeys getting out of the cage of the fucking lab. So we got to see, you know, our strength. We got to see our own abilities and capabilities because they have been, you know, running us down, testing on all that stuff. So, you know, it's not like, oh, those kids, they're bad, they're a lost cause or whatever. No, they're just, everybody's got to be reprogrammed. We've all got to be reprogrammed. But we got to do it for ourselves. You can't just go into the reprogramming machine. You got to spiritually reprogram yourself. And you got to look at things through new eyes, through spiritual eyes, through purpose, through deeper understanding. And then you reprogram yourself. So it's up to each person. And, but that is what I have been saying in this group thing and how it's exposing itself now. And so that group, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're very their ego. And I said there's going to be something big that's going to really knock them down off their stool. So they feel humbled. They feel humility. To me, this seems like, so you were all against this 3-0, but now you're all for this 2-5. So any control, as long as it's got the right name attached to it, then you're all about it. And we all have to just surrender. And that's what you think that's our freedom. And it's like, so when shit goes down, because there's going to be a part of DJT that is seen that was not seen before by a lot of people. Because I think group 2 is going to feel humble because they're going to see like, oh, he wasn't the bad guy that the media kept telling me. And they're going to feel like this judgmental thing because they get so offended if anybody judges them, is genders, any of those kinds of things. They get so offended because they don't want bullying. Why do we have so much bullying stuff up in our faces right now? Because that is going to really surface hard in people, because because they have to face we all have to face these sides, so they have to be brought up. It has to come to the surface. And so that group will see like they were being bullied to somebody who was just trying to help. He was just trying to help us. And you know, and then because there's also, to me, kind of an associated part of going against these other people. And it's very stereotyping, judgmental. Like, there's just a lot of this stuff that has to be cleaned up. So that's where it is, so people will be able to see their own stuff, to see like, oh my gosh, I didn't have all the information. I'm sitting here calling him names, and 'cause that's how I felt. Man, I couldn't believe it. When all of a sudden I realized it, I was like, oh my God, what a bully. God, Kelly, oh, you're so rude. God, you're rude. How could you do that to somebody? What if somebody did that to you? And so, you know, it was really, man, I felt bad. And like I've said, that was the first time I had gone on and apologized. It was like a little tiny thing. And just said sorry. You know, I don't remember what exactly I said, but it was like so fast. It was going, it was like the instant it went on, and it was like going so fast. And that's when Twitter took down my account for the first time. And that's when I started to learn about censorship. About learning, oh, you can say you're going to show up at this guy's house and you're going to break in and do him, but you can't say anything to anybody else. Just this one guy who was supposed to be running the country. So that's weird. So, but that's okay. We can all pot shot that guy. And it's like, this is weird. That you say anything about like Pelosi or any of these people, you got guideline restrictions. It's like, this is just getting stranger and stranger. But so but so that group, I think they're gonna kind of wake up to that kind of same feeling of like, oh my God, I can't believe I was mean like that. I can't believe I had such a shitty attitude. And because the hatefulness comes from inside of us. It's not coming from outside of us. That's just the target. It's the ammunition's inside of us. And so, you know, everybody's got ammunition. Everybody's got healing they need to do. And plus, you got the dark energy just lingering in, telling them, rah, 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 bitches. So, but that group, to me, is the one who will be a lot more open to how things shift. I think that's going to be their hard thing, is seeing this side of themselves that is hateful and judgmental, and is going to really bring them, humble them down, where they're going to be a lot more open. And with this other group is very an ego, man. They're so an ego, even though ego is associated with all of it. But these ones who think like we all need to do what they do, we all need to be the way they are. And this is what, you know, the other ones were complaining about. This was like my complaint the whole time. It's like, this church group wants us all to go to church. Like, this is what makes a good American. It's like, yeah, but what about, you know, I am a good American. It's like, I don't have to go do that. Like, why do we all have to live under these rules? But they all, you know, want to live under those rules. They want us all live under them. And so this stuff is going to be embarrassing, I think, when you're all against the 3-0 and make a big thing about it. And then all of a sudden this other one comes up that is, and then you want everybody, like, that shows your hypocrisy. That shows your control that you want over other people. Like, why do you need to control other people? And why do you need a leader who needs to control other people? That's what we're fighting against. There's just some people who are so caught up in, they've got to be the label, they've got to be a Democrat. So they just go along with this absurdity. But once you break free from that mind trap, and then it's like, this is some bullshit. This guy's fucking got us under control. And it's, I mean, it's ridiculous. Especially we got, you know, some Alzheimer's. It's so funny too, because like it's not really him when you talk about it. It's like some Alzheimer's guy. It's a guy playing an Alzheimer, dementia, lost old man, and playing the part. So he's playing the part of the lost old man. So and I don't think the real Joe. I think the real Joe is sharp as fuck. I think he was mean as fuck. I think he didn't have much of a soul. Like, he didn't care. He didn't have compassion, empathy. He would do his needs and his wants. His impulses came first. And he didn't have boundaries. It didn't matter if you're related. It didn't matter any. He's just, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at the pool of kids that came to play with the hair on his legs. If they didn't, he just didn't pop it all off on it. Like, this guy was just like, just self-serving, very self-serving. Oh, and that's a part that they're really showing about Jill's personality right now. Very self-serving, opportunistic. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out with that family. It's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out with a lot of people's personality. Just very self-serving, opportunistic. I even had this weird thing last night. It was just so out of the blue. I was doing something in the kitchen. Maybe I was trying to wash I think that's what it was. I'd gotten the epoxy on my dress and I'm trying to wash it at the sink, and I put soap on it, which seems to have bleached it or rotted it. I don't even know what the fuck. And so I was sitting here doing that, and all of a sudden I had this feeling of Ben Affleck, and I was like, of him trying to like clean up his messes or something, and just his frustration, like all eyes on him. It's like it seemed like he was just like so over it, so fucking sick of it. And it seemed like I don't know if my mind can just go in crazy places, but it seemed like, I swear to God, it seemed like he was in some kind of gambling debt, and then they paid his gambling debt if he would go do this whole thing with J-Lo. So it was almost like he was stepping into this performance already mad at himself for getting himself into that mess. So he's already just frustrated about the whole thing, and like, just like feeling like you have to do something that you don't have to do. And that could be the whole thing that they were just showing me because I would understand what they were showing me. But it was really weird to see this whole thing playing out. I was like, oh my God, that makes more sense to me. Seriously. That they said, we'll pay your gambling debt, but you got to go marry her and make this thing a distraction. It's got to be this distraction. And he just seemed like just disgusted by it the whole time. Because every time I ever saw them together, he always seemed like he was irritated. And she's trying to market it as this big fairy tale. And then this journal thing that he wrote her. And if he really knew her, like he supposedly in their big love story, if he really knew her, wouldn't he know that that's her personality, is to expose every single thing to try and make herself look good? Like, everybody loves me so much, I'm so wonderful, I'm so beautiful, everybody loves me. Yeah, that is so fucking a borderline histrionic. Like, there's so many of these people that people look up to, celebrities and stuff. They've got personality disorder galore. Like, they've got issues, like big issues. They need to fucking get their shit together. And I saw that so clear with this little story thing of Ben. And just, you know, especially with him, it was just like he was so much like us. And then he got himself, because he wrote that one movie and skyrocketed up, and then became, you know, super, super duper famous. Like, they pushed him forward. There's a thing, I don't know, some of these people say that there's some kind of a thing. Like, you have something good go, and then they'll try and get your signature in blood or something. Like, it's like they dangle stuff up that you can have, but then if they can't use you for what they're giving you, then they'll destroy you. Like, so it's like you jump onto the hamster wheel, or what is that thing you walk on? But they are in control of it. You can't get off of it. They can speed it up, they can slow it down, and so your life becomes under their control, and so it's very frustrating. So I mean, a lot of these people too, like people look up to and worship and stuff like that. You guys see, like they've got their own issues, they got their own shit going on, and then also what I was seeing with him in this little scenario thing I was seeing is the frustration because nobody's got the tools. Like they weren't teaching psychology in school. Like I took those classes and stuff, but I mean in college and stuff. But people weren't. They did teach people how to heal and stuff, and even anybody who's gone to counseling and stuff like that, you see the problems with it. Like I think he's been to like rehab, and I think he's got like he's got addiction problems. I think with alcohol and gambling and who knows, you know. Anything you get out of balance or you start using in excess, it's easy because you're going in the wrong direction. To me, you got to put the stuff down and let yourself be uncomfortable sometimes. And you got to face the truth. You got to be real. You got to be honest. Because then that's freeing. That's freeing yourself. Being real and being honest. And so, anyways, but some people, you know, they're trapped in their image. They're trapped in they're caged by themselves. So they hold themselves. And it's kind of, I see like a bird cage hanging in a thing with a Cherokee, tweet, tweet, tweet. It's like they're caged as entertainment because they hold themselves into restriction because they are so fearful of being exposed. Instead of just being real and being true to themselves, they begin to play a character in their own lives. They make their life into a character role. I think you know, part of what they do in Hollywood is just break people's psyche apart. It gives them a loss of identity because they fracture them out to play all these different people. And then I think that because all the money behind it. You know, I was just thinking about this yesterday, how weird it is that when I was a kid and we used to go to the movies, because the neighbor went to the movies yesterday, so it made me think of it. She was taking her kids and they went with a bunch of other kids and everybody went. And I was thinking of summertime and even in Spokane in the summertime, this old theater, it would do, I think it has a free movie in the daytime for the kids. And then they have movies for like $1, $3 or something like that. And I don't even know if it's still doing it, but it was before. And so kids would always go up there in the summer. It would always be packed. It was called the Garland. It's really cool old theater. It became super trendy. Like at night, it even has a bar in it and stuff. And everything's real old fashioned in it. Then, but I was thinking about when I was a kid, we used to go when it was a quarter. We'd get a quarter and then we'd walk to the place where the movie theater was and we'd go watch a movie. And then look how much they've gone up. And I was thinking, they told us, you know, because it costs so much more to make movies, but because you're blowing up cars and shit, so we have to pay $10, $15 to go watch you blow up cars and shit, like it's absurd. And I can see why actors and stuff start saying, well, you're going to pay me more. You know, you're going to charge all this money, you're going to pay me more. This is some bullshit. So I can see why actors start going up, and then they start blaming it on the actors. Well, the actors, they demand more money, and the cars we blow up, they cost a lot of money and stuff. It's like, you know, I see the bullshit. But anyways, that will be a part of this idolization, and there's so much of that already falling apart. Because there's all these people who people idolize on Twitter and Instagram, these influencer people. Their lives are all blowing up and shit. Yeah, all things are being exposed, all sorts of stuff. I keep seeing people after people talking about people who I've never even heard of. And so all of that, but I said that was all coming, all this stuff. But for all these people where people is worship these other people, I just saw so much of him just being just like us, just struggle and frustrated, and so many people just lost, not knowing, you know, how to find themselves, how to feel better, and we are all alike, you know. There is something, we're all broken. We're all broken. We're all the broken toys at the sand. What was that movie? The Christmas movie, The Island of the Broken Toys or something. That's what we are. We're all the broken toys. But it's like the magic is going to come in and fix us. But the magic is there for you because you are the one who has to fix yourself. Nothing is going to be done, but it's weird because it's being done for you. But it's like you have to be paying attention because everything is happening for you. So it really is happening, and you have every opportunity. It all depends on how you look at stuff and how you spend your time and what you value. Because once you start realizing all this stuff is happening for you, so that is the magic. That is this part of the universe. This click, how it's so fucking perfect. Every little fucking click, every little fucking moment is perfection. And even in the most trying times, it's perfectly aligned with everything so that bad thing can happen. So each thing is so perfectly timed. But each of those things is so that there's the other side. You just got to work towards getting to the other side. You got to climb over the hill to get to where you're going. So when you get over there, then you're going to be able to look back and go like, that was worth it, man. That was fucking worth it for where I'm at now. But that's the part, is like we would hold ourselves back. We wouldn't sit here and go and do these hard things for ourselves. People wouldn't just be quitting their jobs if they weren't so pushed. People wouldn't be leaving their homes. You got so many landlords now driving up the prices of rent. Even the guy next door, he was talking to me at the fence the other day, and his landlord, who's a dick, he is raising his rent only $100. But it's like, dude, it's a goddamn trailer. He has a trailer. It doesn't do anything. The landlord, has never done anything to fix it up. Like, the outside is old. I imagine the inside is no better. And doesn't, like, the guy has a dog. He doesn't even get a fence or anything. Like, the guy doesn't do anything to take care of his place. And so, but then he's going to charge the renter more money and drive up the price. It's ridiculous, especially if the guy's been living there for such a fucking long time. He's fucking paid for your goddamn trailer probably, and paid for that trailer more than once probably. It's like you could update that place. There's so much you could do. And then he goes, oh yeah, and he's a developer around here, and now he's saying he's needing this money and stuff. See, these developers are pieces of shit. And there's a lot of developers that are landlords, these LLCs and these corporations, and things are hitting them harder because this is the collapse. But they're going to be a part of the collapse because they're creating it because of their own greed. They drove it up, and now it's going to collapse. And we're just, we're the aftermath, but it's going to benefit us. Because we were trying to be a part of something that was so impossible, so corrupt. Like the amount, I can't even believe the amount of rents I'm hearing people being charged and paying. It's absurd. It's fucking ridiculous, man. So there's these girls, like I'm thinking they're in Toronto, and their insurance. So they were in I guess in Canada there was restricted, the same kind of thing like they did in New York. So you couldn't raise the rent up because the buildings were worth more or something now, or the area was worth more, so the people who lived there. So it's like this gentrification, but they had rule restrictions, so they couldn't. And the gentrification thing is so bad in Spain. The Spaniards are going out and they are telling the tourists to leave. Like there's a whole protest going. They want them out. And I said when we were there, they do not like them. They don't. And when you travel in Europe, it's really important because all these people go and do Airbnbs, but this is the problem because the Airbnbs are all owned by these LLCs, and these corporations are not even owned by the people in the area. So it's taking away from their jobs. You got to stay at the hotels and shit where they work. So that gives them employment. So that's one thing that's fucking people over. And then also with the Ubers and stuff, the taxis, especially where I think it was Spain, one of the places we went, that it is so restricted The cabs they have to do all these testing. These are the cabbies. They have to do all these testing. They have to know every street. They get tested on the maps. It's so extreme. I could not believe this taxi cab driver was telling us about how extreme it is with everything that they have to learn and to pay these expensive licenses and stuff in order to be cab service. So, and they have to know shit. Like, they gotta know their area, they gotta know history, like they're almost like tour guides or something. And they know every street, every fucking detail. And then they've got these Uber people that were coming in and undercutting them. So that was creating a huge thing. The Airbnbs and the Ubers were fucking got the people so pissed. And so we were there. When we went to Barcelona, it was 2016, I think. Let me think. No, because I was already triggered. So it was 2017. Because I kept thinking, oh, we're going to meet. That's why this has happened. Because I'm going to go on this trip and we're going to meet. It's 2017. So anyways, but it was already an issue. I mean, the people who you talk to, like, we went on a bike tour. My daughter and I, one of my daughters and I, we did a bike tour. I loved it. It was so fun. Oh my God, it was so fun. And that girl was telling us some of this stuff. Like, tourism was a big problem in some of these places, and it's pushing, because all these Airbnbs are being bought by these people that don't live there, and they're pushing all of the people out, so the people can't afford to live where they have always lived. But anyway, so in Toronto, they had made this where they couldn't do that. They had to leave the rent at this price. So these two sisters or something had this rent, I don't know, it was $300, $500 or something. And it all of a sudden went up to 900. So they said something, and then it went up to, it seems like it did 3 jumps, like in a couple days or something. But anyways, they turned around and told them that they have to pay $9,000 a month. These girls are like, there's no fucking way we can pay $9,000 a month. So that's the absurdity of the bullshit that keeps going on. But that's where the people have to stand your ground. You have to keep standing your ground. That's what we all have to do, is stand our ground, because we outnumber them. They can't do anything. And it's going to, these people who were standing our ground against, these developers, these people who were trying to run us, they were trying to run us down, and they had backing. And they had backing because they're immoral. And so they are trying to run us down. So we all have to stand up and say, no, fuck off. And those girls was like, no, just one of them needs to stay home all the time. Especially the thing that's so fucking bullshit is that about squatters' rights. So us humans, who homeowners and shit, you got no fucking rights, but squatters have all the rights. Like, fuck off with this shit. We're gonna have the rights we want, and we'll make the ones who we'll say who's got rights and who doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a blood-sucking fucking parasite to the rest of us, you don't have rights. So fuck off. I don't give a shit what you say. But you gotta remember, you gotta love yourself. You gotta love everyone, even when it's difficult. You gotta love everyone, and you gotta learn how to have a loving day. Because it is up to you. Okay, I gotta say it right. Okay, so you gotta love yourself, love everyone, and have a loving day, because it's up to you. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. That was my bitch fest for the day. So talk to you later. Bye.